Hello everybody and welcome back to a new mod showcase. I just want to start off by saying apologies for this one because my voice isn't 100%. My family has been hit by the plague, the bubonic plague if you must ask. We're all struggling to stay afloat, but we will make it, I'm sure, as Brits are hardy folk. But with that being said, today we'll be covering OVN Fishmen mod, the Fishman mod. It's the newest release. I will be covering their other mods, but I think we'll start with the newest one because it's not quite as normal as what they have released, and there's a lot of misconception as well. And obviously, during for these mod showcases, I like to go into the nitty gritty, like deep dive into everything. So I'll literally show you exactly how they work and where to get them, because I feel like at times there's a bit of a misconception on how to actually recruit them and stuff like that. So without further ado, if you haven't already, please do leave me a like, subscribe if you haven't already also, and let's get into it. Right, so now we've loaded in to a Bretonnia campaign. Now, a point to take into account here, it matters which faction you play because it has to be a faction which can have a unusual location, right? If it's not a faction which can have unusual locations, then unfortunately it doesn't work. I'm not 100% certain about what factions can and can't. I know the Lizardmen, for example, can't get them. So that's one factor to take into account. If you're not playing a faction which can have unusual locations, then that is something which obviously isn't going to work for you if you want to use these units. Secondly, I'll also just throw out, the AI don't really seem to care for the unusual location. The AI will recruit these units like mad because you recruit them basically as mercenaries, and you don't recruit them normally. So as you can see here, we're only turn 6, so early on in the campaign. However, it took me a long time to actually get this event to trigger. Now usually you'll play it a little bit more naturally than what I will, and you'll get the event obviously probably over time, maybe not as early as this. But for purposes of this video, I kept on restarting because by turn 6 or 8, you usually get one unusual location. If you're playing with a faction, you can get it, at least while I was testing it. So here, as far as I'm aware, so on the mod page it says that it has to be in the old world, but from my understanding, it doesn't have to be in the old world. It just has to be a port settlement, which again makes sense if they're obviously fishmen. And here we've got the secluded fishing village. Few travellers visit this place because the inhabitants are very reclusive. Those who do tell of residents suddenly disappearing time and again. This location will be costly to remove, so it costs what, $3 grand. And there you go. Chance for events to trigger related to this location, and it comes with -3 control and -20 growth because people are just disappearing. Do you know what I mean? It's part of the village. It's part of the settlement. People are just disappearing. So I will skip forward a couple of turns now and show you what happens when the actual event does trigger. But I just wanted to let you know what it looks like to get the unusual location, what you're looking for. And once you got this, you're in the clear. But just be aware that the AI couldn't care less. They'll be recruiting it from like turn 3 in armies, which shouldn't be able to get them. But you'll see. Give me 2 minutes and I'll swap over. So here we are finally, after around about 5 turns of me bashing my head against the Red Duke. Eventually, we have this pop up. A strange human male with unblinking eyes asked for an audience. He claimed that one day mysterious creatures rose from the sea and asked his village to send an envoy to their master. They offered to fight for you, for the right price of course. Their motives remain hidden and the price seems suspiciously low, but you don't refuse a helping hand. Right, so here we go. So this is literally how you recruit the fishmen. Different options for different units, and then it goes into like the higher mercenary tab. So for example, I will show you each and every individual unit in a second and in the next part of the video. But here you can see the majority of them are here. I think it's only a non-riderless Wyrdclam here. So cavalry option, 2 cavalry, 3 infantry, or a hero and a giant. So yeah, you can hire their support there. Boom, thank you very much. Right, nice one. Now that we move back, as you can see here, we've got an additional tab down here, hire Fishmen Mercenaries. So you click on that, and you can kind of see here there is a fifth unit. There is another unit of Wyrdclams. I'm not too sure whether or not spawned here, but as you can see, there's a hero solo infantry boy, as well as a giant here, which we just recruited in the previous segment. So with that being said, that is a general rule of thumb as to how to get them. There is no new lords, there is no new faction, there is no new nothing. They are purely mercenaries. So I just thought I'd quickly show you how you actually recruit them, how to go about recruiting them. If you don't agree with them, there is a way to get a rogue army to spawn, led by an Abyssal Acolyte. They'll come, kind of wreck your shit, and then leave again. They're very similar to like a rogue army, like the pirates, just a new faction, like rogue army, just for the purpose of fucking you over if you don't like them enough. So, with that being said, let's actually get into showcasing the units. Right, let's kick things off with this screaming maniac. Excuse the beast above me, swimming above in the water here. So here we've got the Acolyte, the Abyssal Acolyte. He's going to be a hero type, however, in custom battles you can use him as a lord. He loves to scream, apparently. He comes with two different sets of laws. He comes with the Shadow Law as well as the Deep's Law. So you get like a mix of those spells, which is quite cool. You also get a unique Denizens of the Deep summons, which summons 2 units of feral Wyrdclams, which is pretty cool. Of course, he's a spellcaster, so when it comes to like his armor and stuff like that, he's a pretty weak boy. However, the laws of Deep and the laws of Shadow is definitely nothing to scoff at, so he's definitely going to be a worthwhile hero, kind of acting as that emissary for the other Fishmen units. So definitely one to have around. He looks really cool, loves to scream and shout. So I mean, there you go, and he looks like an absolute mad lad. So that's the Abyssal Acolyte. Let's get into the cavalry options, and then we'll get into the fish boys in the back there in a minute. Okay, kicking things off with the 2 cavalry units, as I mentioned when showing you how to recruit them. These are the feral Wyrdclams, and we also have the mounted Wyrdclams. They act very similar, even though these are feral. They don't have rampage or anything like that. They are just non-mounted and just don't have as good as stats. They are armor piercing, as well as anti-infantry, so these are going to be really good at just getting stuck in there and doing some heavy damage. Obviously acting as a large monstrous unit, so really good. Every unit with the Fishmen roster is counted as aquatic as well, so definitely a good one to get in there for that AP and anti-infantry bonus there. The armor as well there, 110 armor. That's pretty naughty. Looking over here at the Wyrdclam Riders, exactly the same unit, but if we put into comparison, you can see the buffs there. So they've got better leadership, better health, slightly more melee attacks, slightly more melee defense, and slightly more weapon strength. That's the only difference they've got. They're just slightly better in melee. They have the exact same armor piercing, anti-infantry, and aquatic. So basically, just a tier 3 unit into a tier 4 unit. These will do fine in and of themselves because they don't rampage, they don't have any like negative like that. And for the Abyssal Acolyte here to be able to summon them is pretty cool. However, if you were to just want to upgrade into the Wyrdclam Riders, this obviously comes with its benefits, so definitely something to take into account. Kind of scary when you take into account that anyone who has unusual locations can use these mobs. So, for example, dwarves. As weird as this may look with a dwarven roster, dwarves can now have access to cavalry, and some pretty naughty cavalry at that as well. And magic as well, if you want to put it like that. So, yeah, definitely one to take into account. With that being done, let's have a look at the infantry choice. Okay, here we are with the Fishmen Infantry. Really, really nice looking models, by the way. The OVN team always does a really good job at making the models look really nice for whatever faction they do. Like I say, I will go into the other factions in later videos. However, I thought I'll start with the newest one to date now. Really, really cool looking. Really, really nice and aesthetically pleasing. Definitely look like men of the sea. I'll put it like that. Again, aquatic. They've got scaly skin, which helps with missile resistance as well as armor piercing. Armor's not too great on them. All right, still nothing better than nothing. Leadership's quite good and weapon strength's not too bad. So I kind of feel like these are similar to like plague bearers in that sense. Like they're not going to be too heavy hitting, but they're good AP and they'll get in there and get stuck in there. And probably survive for quite some time as well. So really good unit. There's only 24 in a unit as well. So not a unit with lots of mass. Sorry, lots of mass. It's got plenty of mass. It's monstrous infantry. Not a unit with lots of entities. Sorry. So once they do get whittled down, that obviously comes with the drawbacks of losing an entity with monstrous infantry. But really cool looking nevertheless. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. With that done, let's have a look at the last unit readily available for this roster. Right, and here the mad lad is. He just looks like a Cthulhu hellspawn. He is a monstrous boy. This is your biggest boy, the Abyssal Giant. He's got armor piercing, which basically is a running narrative with most of the Fishmen roster, bringing a lot of AP to the field, which is really good. Anti-infantry, which again is very similar to the Wyrdclams, causes terror and is aquatic. So absolutely fantastic. He does have some other benefits there. He has ink attack, which brings down the melee defense of units in a range, which is really nice. As well as being obviously a wall breaker and stuff like that. So a really good unit there. Armor, a little bit better than the Fishmen. Leadership is at 100, so again, these units aren't going to be breaking anytime soon. Weapon strength at 525 is nothing to scoff at. So yeah, just a really good giant, obviously with different bonuses than the normal giants, as in obviously being aquatic. Having its own unique passive there with the ink attack. So really cool looking. Again, character model is terrifying but beautiful at the same time. I mean, just look at him. He's impressive. But that being said, let's get into a little skirmish here and show them off in battle. Right, here we go then. Let's do a little showcase of what the Fishmen are capable of. We've got obviously the Wyrdclams on the flanks, the Fishmen going into the middle. Again, every unit here has some nasty AP, and the Abyssal Giant is trying to get there. Hero at the back here is slowly working his way over, bless him. He's coming, he's coming. Again, something to take into account, a lot of AP here, so going up against Jade Warriors and stuff like that should be pretty good for him. Spells coming in from the Spellcaster there. Trying to whittle down the defences as much as I can. Are the Fishmen running? Oh no. See you later, Fishmen. Are they actually running? Oh no, no, it's just pulling them out. Cycle charging, monstrous infantry. Let's do it. In goes the Abyssal Acolyte, by the way. Just, I don't know where he's off. He's not attacking. He's taking 1,000 cuts. He must be some kind of follower of Slaanesh there, by the looks of it. Wyrdclam's absolutely going to town. Of course, because of what they are modelled after, I believe being the Plague Toads, they just bounce everywhere and do so much damage. Hard to hit because of how they move, and yeah, keeping that damage rolling. They're just kind of like escorting the Cathanes over here on the flank. But it is what it is. Acolyte here, Giant here going against a Lord. He is a big boy, a naughty boy. Jesus, he is he is terrifying. Jeez Louise. And the Fishmen again in the middle here, holding their ground. Damn boy. Damn boy, he's thick. Damn. With that being said, there is the Fishmen showcase. as they just kind of get whittled out here by the Wyrdclams, especially. Such a good monstrous cavalry unit there. I hope you have enjoyed. Please do leave me a like if you haven't already. Don't worry about him just running up the hill after the Lord there. See you later, big boy. Please do leave me a like if you haven't already. Subscribe also would be a fantastic for me if you wouldn't be, you know, too non-inclined to do so. I will be continuing to show off the OVN mods. I just thought I'd start with the newest one first, and we'll go through the other ones after, because they're a little bit bigger and a little bit heftier to pick through. But with that being said, much love, thank you for the support, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!